So, welcome, guys, again. Let me introduce our next speaker, Oles Dibrivniy. He is Unity developer at Keiki. So, hi, Oles.
Hi guys.
Nice to see you. I can hear you clearly. I can see you. So, I hope everything goes well and uh, no
Yeah, I
war
hope so.
issues. I hope so. Yeah. So, I'm gonna start your stream. Yeah, we can see your presentation. So if you have any question, do not hesitate to ask. I'm here for you at background, and the stage is yours.
Okay, great. Then I will start. Hi again, guys. My name is Oles, and for past few years, I'm working as a Unity developer and also providing lectures in one of University of Kyiv. And as you can see by the name of my presentation, today I will be providing you with some insights of how to use remote configs to make your app as flexible as it can be. If you read anything about the company that I'm working, Keiki, you already know that we work in a very specific niche, apps for kids under age of 13. Yeah, this word can give nightmares for those who at least once tried to publish something under these restrictions. And because of that, you may ask, how insights from project that niche, that specific, can help me with my RPG, roguelike, 3D shooter strategy, or let's be real, in approximately 2 out of 3 cases, casual or hyper casual game? To answer this question, we need to look at the target audiences of kids apps and casual apps. Yeah, I chose the most obvious and most boring variant to compare with. So look at them. Kids, and as last researches showed, mostly people aged 18 to 34. At first glance, they have nothing in common. But the more I was thinking about it, the closer I got to the realization that these two audiences want one thing: the most delicious piece of your game, with the simplest way to eat. It would not be wrong to assume that these two audiences do not like mechanics heavy games with four layered interfaces that they need to pass to get to the first game level or game regime, as in case with our app. And even then, what are the chances that they will find themselves in the place with the most delicious dish? But it's only a theory, you will say. That's why I brought some numbers. Here you can see statistics from Udony's Hyper Casual Games report, Monetization and Advertising by Andrea Knezovitz, September 22, 2022, on the right, and statistics gathered by our analytics team. Number inside clocks are percentages of users with their playtime. Numbers placed in tablets are average level played by user in one session. But what do these numbers means for you as game developer? It means that about 50 to 60% of your users will play up to 20-25 minutes at most and will complete up to 3 levels. And it's all that you have to gain user interest and make them want to return to your game or even to buy something. So now, when you know how limited resources you have to gain user interest, we look upon how to use them in most efficient way. What you see at these two GIFs is our onboarding flow. Previously, I forgot to mention that when you create child apps, you work with two audiences: parents, the one who install, launch, and pay, and children's who use it all the time and make parents want to pay for it. So you need to appeal to both these audiences. And our onboarding is the way to do it. In one flow, we show parents that our app can bring and also gather information about our main user to customize some features. For example, regimes that will be shown to user first. And here you can see two variants of such flow. What difference do you see? First that will come to mind is design. Left one has a more colored and rounded design with bigger elements. But for us, the main difference was the finish rate without skipping. Which variant do you think performed better? And by how much? Pretty noticeable difference. But what if I say that this rate could vary as a result of changing only one screen in sequence? And biggest difference that we have as a result of changing one screen was around 6%. But how to know what design will give you best results or what screen will increase or decrease your metrics? The answer is remote configs, analytics, and A/B testing. So where do we start? If you don't have enough resources and time to create your own analytics system, the best decision will be to use Firebase. And no, unfortunately, Firebase doesn't pay me for promoting their product. The reason to use it is it's very simple to integrate their solution to almost any project that written on any game engine or uh, even without game engine. And they have really friendly documentation, pleasant prices, and large community who uses their solution and can help you to find answers to any problem. But if you don't like Firebase, there are two available alternatives that I know about. First is Unity Remote Configs. And as you can say by name, it is only available for those who use Unity as their game engine. If being honest, I even don't remember why we choose not to use Unity remote configs, but something tells me that it's related to the fact that first year after Unity release some new feature, it's pretty raw and have a lot more questions than answers. So when we started using remote configs, solution from Unity had not been covering all our needs. Another option is to write your own system. But this road is longer and requires a lot more resources that to use one of previous two solutions. On the other hand, you can create systems that will cover all your needs and customize it however you want. After you choose a remote config system, you will need to prepare hypotheses that you want to check. In our case, we will be testing sequences of different onboarding screens. Here you can see one-fourth of the screens that we tested as part of our onboarding flow. Yeah, it was like 60 screens maybe. What tests can we run with these screens? It could be parallel testing of two completely different sequences, which you saw on GIFs two slides before, or sequences that differ by a few or only one screen, or even tests where you change some part of specific screen. And all these tests you can run simultaneously with Firebase A/B testing. You just pick how many of your user will take part in the test, divide them into two groups, and send each group configurations that will define what they will see in the app. Then you choose metrics and monitor it. In our case, metric is onboarding finish rate. And this is how our configs for screen order and specific screen settings look like. It's presentation from Firebase remote configs. Here you can see a list of serialized data that help us to create the final sequence. Now let's look at these parameters and what they stand for. ID is analytic-only parameters and we use for convenience with testing. Page type, alongside with page scheme, defines which prefab will be used for visualize the screen. As for data parameters, it defines whatever we want it to define. It can be almost any settings of screen, from animation settings to inner screen sequences. So how do we achieve this inside Unity? Prefabs that we can use are gathered in scriptable objects. Flavor storage for those who don't use Unity. And we can find the prefabs that we want by the page type and page scheme that we set in remote configs. It's possible because of the usage of the systems that we name dynamic context. It's a realization of a pretty simple concept. We don't have any static screen sequences and create screens in the runtime when we need them. And after usage, we destroy them with some steps and condition. For example, onboarding is one sequence, so we destroy its screens only after users finish it. Also, we save some amount of previously used screens so we can return to them. This approach gives us enough flexibility to build any screen sequence that we need. And with usage of system for remote content loading, we can even add or change prefabs that we use in game without new release. Another thing that we tested with usage of remote configs is the look of our main menu. Here you can see old solution, where the main part of the screen is taken by animated icon of just one game. And we have more than 30 different mini games in our app and 3 video lists. So we had 2 theories. First is that parents think that we have quite a small amount of content because how hard is to find something while scrolling through all of our games and inner menus with game levels. Second theory was that most of our users play only the first few games in scrolling order, so we can't estimate how each game impacts user interest. Also, because of how much attention big animated icons consumes, some of our other features like worksheets, it's high quality images with coloring page that you can download and print to give to your child. And learning plan, sequence of games that will help you to learn math or letters, was used only by a small percent of users who was lucky enough to find it. To get to worksheet, you need to Click an icon in the right top corner with pencil and AB letters on a sheet of paper. So we designed a new menu. Sorry. I have small technical problem. Oh, no, too far away. Our new menu, not as fancy and as the old one, but our of all content is visible at the first page that user get to. Now you can get to a game or video just in 2 clicks. Worksheets and learning plan are now visible for users. Also, because now we have a lot more space to show users something new, we added a new feature, daily games, where user can go straight to the game that we want to show him. And I think you already guessed it that we can control it through remote configs. So we had two designs and we ran them as split tests, which have pretty interesting results. Okay, my video are now. Okay, and here you can see results that our tests give us. As you can see, usage of some of our feature increased drastically. Sure, we paid with little decrease of game and video usage, but it was already pretty high, around 55%. So it's a small enough price to pay for the increase of printables and learning plan usage. That was up to 3 times. I need to say that these percentages are not exclusive one to each other. These percentages means that user that enters the app can go to learning plan, then come back to main menu and go to worksheets. Yeah. And also, besides the increases of usage of our features, we reach the point where all of our features are used almost equally. I have a small problem with my presentation, so sorry for that. Okay. Uh,
Do you need any
I'll.
assistance, Alice?
Sorry, I didn't
Do you
hear
need
you.
any assistance?
No, I think it's maybe internet or my PCs that don't want to work properly.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so I spoiled something for you, but very important thing that we want to do with our menu is to experiment with how buttons and order in what we show them to our user change his interest. I'll give you a minute to think about what can be changed on this screen with remote configs. And you have already seen some stuff, but just imagine what do you want that you will able to do on the screen to change. Ready? Okay. Image, text, size, order, spacing between great spacing between our buttons. All this we can control with our remote configs. Not bad. With this level of flexibility, we can run experiments with visual perception of our main menu as we want to. We can totally change the look of the screen without new releases and also do it as A/B tests. Also, we can set priorities or simply say and make some buttons bigger and to uh, to allow user to see what we want them to see. And we can do it all as A/B tests. So how do we achieve that inside our game agent, inside our app? First that we used is a Unity addressable asset system. In my humble opinion, it is one of the best solutions from Unity and one of the most efficient way to handle downloadable content and assets inside your app. Next, configs. This time you can see how config for one button in the main menu looks inside code. Simple serialized class with 4 fields. I think for 3 of them you can tell their functionality by their names. And tile type defines what functionality stays behind clicking on tile. And third part is mess. It turned out that Unity is really bad when it comes to working with custom element sizes for UI grids. So we wrote a grid ourselves. And now we can set different sizes for each element. Surely we need to take into account rules, which grid place elements to avoid empty spots, but it gives us a lot of freedom to experiment with how our main menu will work. Another part of our application that we experimenting with is our game selection menu. As you saw in old menu, we have mix of main menu and game selection menu. It was all at the same place. Yeah, we had very fancy animated icons, but they covered other games from users. Also, two-layered or in sometimes three-layered level selection menu will confuse users and take precious minutes from the average game session. That, as I told you a few minutes before, is 20 minutes. So we redesigned it. And now all our games are in front of the user at once. Okay, maybe not all at once, but scroll is a lot smaller. What about flexibility? After the main menu, I don't think that I can impress you saying that we can change almost everything here. Nevertheless, the thing that is most valuable for us is the order and amount of free games. Our team is constantly adding new mini games to our app. In the last release, we added 2 new games, and soon we will add 2 more, one of which is dedicated to Halloween. So the opportunity to test how our games perform compared to old ones is very tempting. Based on result, we can decide to add more levels, expand mechanics, or completely redo specific game. Also, moving this way, we can search for mechanics or visual style that our users like the most. How do we work with our game selection menu? Okay. First, addressables. We need them to work with icons, and in the near future, we plan to change our games on fly by changing sense and visual files that we add to sense. Also, addressables allow us to really easily add new levels or new visuals to our games. Next thing is mass. We're using custom grid here too. So we want sorry. So we want to have a most flexible menu that we can, and to decide how many levels will be in front of our user at once. And last but not least is remote config that defines order and availability of our games. Logic behind these parameters works next way. Firstly, we open access to all games with IDs that are present in accessed game list. Then, if free games count is lower than accessed games count, we randomly give access to games with exclusion of games with IDs that are present in game excluded from random access. Here you also can see two parameters that help us to get additional data for our A/B tests. It's split group and split name. They're used by our custom analytic to provide our better results for A/B testing. Okay, 1 second. Now let's talk about features that we called learning plan. At first glance, it is the same game selection menu with the same games, but a more fancy look. The main difference is that here we have sequenced a list of games dedicated to one category, math or ABC letters. Lists that we created according to best teaching practice from the US and UK. The main idea of this feature is to structure our content for children to learn new information in the simplest possible way and prepare them for kindergarten or school. But knowledge requirements are changing rapidly, so we need to be prepared, and remote configs save us a lot of time. We constantly consult with different learning experts to provide the best experience for our users. So we need to have a possibility to change the order of games, order of level in specific learning steps, or even to add our new games to the learning plan sequence. And remote configs allow us to do it all. So this is how we use remote configs in our app. Okay, maybe it's not all. We have a few more remote configs. We localized our app into 18 languages. And we're using remote configs to dynamically change the source where users are getting their localization from. It allows us to fix mistakes in letters because it's very hard to contain 18 languages well you don't have native speakers in all of them. Policies we control too through the remote configs. And this solution saved us not once when Apple or Google was changing their policies on the fly. And you need to remember that we work with apps for children under 13. So flexibility is must have. All worksheets that you can download in our app are defined by remote configs as well as a list of video content that your child can watch. The last one is really important when you have video content department that wants to release a new video every week and to update it in other ways without using remote config. You need to prepare another release. And you know how hard it is to get approval for releases from Apple or Android, and time and amount of work that you will put to this will exceed the value from updating one video once a week. And last one is security inside our app. You know, the mathematical task that you need to solve to get to settings or some specific part of your app that you don't want child to visit. And we also know that we teaching children math and our security system based on solving real simple mathematical equations. But it helps us to save children of getting places that they don't need to be. And even this we can control through remote configs. So don't stop yourself from using remote configs and controlling controlling not the world but your app with it. At least give it a try. Never know where it will lead you. So thank you for your attention. Sorry that I have some technical problems and my presentation had a roughly edgy structure without that visual that I want to. But now I'm gladly will answer any questions that you have. Okay, I don't hear anything. 1 second.
Okay,
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
So can you hear me now? Sorry, my
Yeah, yeah,
mic
yeah.
was muted. Sorry, it's totally okay. It was your issues. I totally have issues with my microphone. It's okay. We are in the middle of war. Everything is okay.
Yeah, yeah. It's
uh,
have its downfalls.
yeah, yeah, everything is okay. Thank you for joining us today. First of all, that's the main job you've done today, and that's totally okay. Thanks for sharing this information. It was all new for me. I personally don't know what does it mean to install remote configs. It's all new to me, and my personal question: can you share in just like choose one two sentence what is the main purpose of this remote configs, just for me as not non in-depth technical guy.
Okay, the main values remote configs is parameters that lay at the cloud, and by changing these parameters, you can change something in your app. For example, you want to show to give your user three free levels. You set number on the cloud to 3, and by changing this number you can change how many free levels your user will get, and it's the simplest way. But with this you can create really complicated behaviors and change almost anything in your app on the fly without new releases.
Mhm.
So to change something in app, you need to make release to put it to Google Play or App Store, and with remote configs, you can change it more dynamically.
The total idea is to create a thin client and to outsource all the settings into cloud.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, yeah, it's seems legit to me. Nice, nice. So let me check. Do we have any questions? No, we have not any questions. I believe people who understand this topic well understood everything. But for me, it was a pretty intense technical uh, presentation. But as far as we can understand, I got it. So thanks for sharing your information. Thanks for sharing your knowledge today. Please stay safe. And I hope we will meet next time. So see you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you for attention, and see you. Bye. Have a nice day and interesting 3 days of game gathering.
Thank you.
Goodbye.